Disneyland. Happy birthday! Happy
Well, okay, modest by Disney standards anyway. In the exact same spot where Walt Disney stood on Sunday morning, July 17th, 1955. Today's ceremony celebrated 60 years of Disneyland. Earlier this summer, we looked back to opening day, July 17th, 1955.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome. Disneyland is your land.
60 years ago, Walt Disney threw open the gates to Disneyland for the very first time.
With the hope that it will be a source of joy and inspiration to all the world. Thank you.
Sunday, July 17th, 1955. 15,000 people squeezed through 4 turnstiles into a world of imagination, already labeled the happiest place on earth. The reviews were mixed. Well, sort of. The LA Times said high-heeled shoes sank deep into Disneyland's fresh asphalt, and food and drinks ran out. Long lines formed at toilets. Visitors searched in vain for drinking fountains, and a power outage stalled Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. But in the same article, the Times also said the opening was positive, describing how Disney had created a new world where children's dreams and adult aspirations came to life. And that seems to be the recollection of what came to be called Black Sunday by Walt himself. The idea of Disneyland far outweighed the opening day problems. Within a month, Disney had fixed the problems, and his promise to investors that people would spend as much as $3 a day and that 2 million people would visit the first year was far exceeded when the first year saw people spending closer to $5 a day, and more than 4 million people came through those 4 turnstiles. 2 years earlier, in 1953, Walt had the Stanford Research Institute conduct a survey looking for a 100-acre site outside of Los Angeles. Disney was going to need space to build rivers, waterfalls, mountains, flying elephants, and giant teacups, a fairy tale castle, moon rockets, and a scenic railway. But Walt Disney's pockets were only so deep, so the search finally found the best spot to be in rural Anaheim, with a purchase of a 160-acre orange grove near the junction of the Santa Ana Freeway and Harbor Boulevard. Although Disneyland was expensive, Walt needed nearly $17 million to build the park. The design of Disneyland was going to be something that had never been done before. There would be 5 uniquely different lands: Main Street USA, Adventureland, Fantasyland, Frontierland, and Tomorrowland. And bit by bit, Disneyland got ready for opening day, the staff working around the clock to get the park ready. But opening the world's very first theme park wasn't enough for Walt Disney. He also planned a live 90-minute TV special for that day. 22 cameras were placed around the park for the broadcast that was hosted by Art Linkletter and actors Bob Cummings and Ronald Reagan. That live special aired 7 to 8:30 Eastern Time on that hot July day. Before Walt's death in 1966, more than 50 million people had come through those 4 gates. Even though Walt Disney wasn't able to see how his park and his company prospered and grew into the 21st century, his legacy lives on. And what had once been called Disney's Folly is now getting set to celebrate 60 years as the happiest place on earth. The Showbiz Report is brought to you each and every night by the show at Agua Caliente Casino Resort Spa and Rancho Mirage. Coming up at the show, America hits town the 25th, followed by the Steve Miller Band, and then comedian Russell Peters takes the stage on August 7th.
Disney's chairman and CEO unveiled plans this week for new attractions at the Shanghai Disneyland Resort. The plans were announced with an elaborate show in Shanghai and features a scale model design. The Shanghai Disneyland Resort will include 6 themed lands: Mickey Avenue, Gardens of Imagination, Fantasyland, Adventure Isle, Treasure Cove, and Tomorrowland. Some attractions inspired by Chinese culture will distinguish the Shanghai Resort from its peers in the United States, Europe, and Asia. Shanghai's Enchanted Storybook Castle, a Disneyland Resort signature, will be the biggest of its kind. Now, you've seen the one, Gino. Could you imagine it being any bigger?
Well, I've never seen Disney World. I mean, I've
Oh,
never been
that's
to
right.
Disney World, so I haven't seen that one, which is much bigger than the one in Anaheim. But if we play our cards right, maybe we'll be there next summer to open up Shanghai Disneyland.
Well, that would be great.
Yeah, not really anticipating that happening.
Still ahead tonight.